populate the community section with questions, because people were already populating it all weekend with this crazy stuff that happened. Okay, so we're going to start with, in Australia, there was what appears to be, or is being called, a mass shooting, a massacre. Okay, and interesting, it was on a place called Bondi Beach, which I found fascinating because, of course, there's Pam Bondi. I mean, could we have some wartime nods happening? Okay, and things got strange and stranger, and are continuing to get stranger about this the whole story around this is looking real weird. Okay, first of all, the killer apparently, or the shooter, or who they say is the shooter, apparently, well, first of all, was connected to or had ties to the Islamic State. Okay. And then shortly after that came out, there was a photograph of his actual ID. Okay. Just like in 9/11. Interesting. Like, why would a shooter bring anything personal like an ID? Oh, and then have it slip out of his pocket or whatever. Like, really? You'd think they'd know better than to even bring his ID with them in a situation like that. Okay, so, but, they found his ID. And weirdly, okay, in Israel, there's reports that people were Googling this guy's address a full 24 hours before the incident actually happened. Okay, so they were Googling this guy's name and address. Okay, how did that happen? Okay, was news out that this was going to happen and nobody told the people that went to the Bondi Beach for that big gathering? Okay, like, did people know about this? And then we had this weird guy. Okay, he was also seen on October 7th, same actor. So we got a crisis actor who's taking selfies at the Bondi Beach, just happened to be there, blood covered, pretending to be a victim. Okay, and let's have a look at that, Coco. Yeah, looks like, okay, he's an actor, because that's obviously stage makeup. Okay, and then they're putting this guy out front as one of the victims. Even have a picture of him with his head all bandaged, but still blood on his face, as if a medic would leave the blood on his face and then bandage him. Like, nothing could be faker than especially this guy's participation. Okay, and on top of it, weird things, it just gets weirder, and probably by the hour it'll just get weirder. So we'll be populating all the weirdness on my Telegram and X, by the way. A fellow who's a Brisbane camera guy who's seen apparently everywhere, especially at things like this. Okay, things that have to do with, events like this. This guy's named Nick Castorella. Anyway, I'm not sure I said that right. But he's apparently quite known in Brisbane, and he's a camera guy, might even be a YouTuber. I'm not sure. They didn't say he was a YouTuber. They just called him a camera guy. But he's on the scene. He happens to be on the scene right at the time of the shooting. This guy's everywhere. It's like he gets tipped off when there's going to be something like this. So false flag, at least, maybe even a psyop. Okay, but not saying nothing happened here. Okay, but if something did go down and people actually were hurt and killed, okay, the thing is, other people jumped in on it for sure. Like that guy pretending to be hurt and then taking selfies and putting them on Instagram, him being a crisis actor, and also seen in several other crises that happened in the last year. Okay, weird stuff. So we're going to ask about that first. Let's go with, okay, did something, in fact, like what actually happened? Did we have a massacre or shootings where people actually got unalived? I can say killed because I'm on my own website, thank goodness, who got killed in this Bondi Beach situation. Was that actually true, that part? Did people actually get maimed and hurt and even killed in this situation that they're talking about? Okay. Okay, that's interesting because in a question like this talks about political parties or people's coming together, agreeing on something. It's kind of a diplomatic card, actually. Interesting. And this card's a safety and caution card, which is weird. Here we've got the Two of Pentacles. Oh, and an upside down Four of Cups. Upside down could just be, so Four of Cups right side up is things like somebody's getting you to look over here while maybe they're trying to take your attention off here. Or it could be that while you're busy looking over here, they're trying to get your attention over here. So somehow, and it was upside down. So I feel like we got some kind of trickery around attentions. So something else, somewhere else in the world was going on, and they created this Bondi massacre to take your attention off of it somehow, is what that looks like. Or there was something else going on, even in the area, and they were trying to get you to look elsewhere. So there's some kind of trickery there. There's no death cards here, guys. And I feel like that we had a lot of actors. So that one shot of the one guy that's all over, by the way, the internet, looking like he was taking selfies of himself while being hurt at this event, looks like that could have been par for the whole group. Okay, so look really closely at the video footage of the massacre, okay, because I got a feeling as things go, we may see as we go carefully forward that this could have been a huge false flag. And let's add PSYOP to that, because I don't see any deaths here. And I am very sorry if that offends you, but that's just, the world's like that right now. Okay, it looks like it's all in the idea of what they're printing and what they're saying. So keep an eye on who they're blaming this on. It'll give you a clue to how they're spinning it and what exactly, who's getting the most out of this. And by the way, that goes for the Browns. There was at the very same week, on the very same weekend, there was a shooting at Browns. Was it a university or college? I can't remember. Was it a university or college? But and it also, people have already discovered a whole bunch of the people showing up as potential victims there. Actually turns out they're also crises actors. So we have a lot of interesting things going on here as it unfolds, and it's starting to look like the very same thing, a false flag slash, some kind of tomfoolery over there too. So keep an eye on that and let us know in the comments what you discover, guys, and share with us what you get. Okay, but I was more looking at the Bondi Beach thing, which looks like a PSYOP and a false flag. So who they're blaming it on is I think off, and also the fact that what the details of what actually happened, I believe, are largely lies. Okay, now we're going to move on to, is Trump releasing, as he puts it, a truckload of evidence about 2020? And he's threatening to do that before Christmas. Okay, so the hammer coming down at Christmas time on the 2020 election. Okay, so let's have a little listen here.
The election was rigged. That's all they're good at, cheating in elections. Very good at cheating. They're professionals at cheating. Because we won in 2016 by a lot. The election was rigged in 2020. We have all the ammunition, all the stuff, and you'll see it come out. It's coming out in truckloads. And California's election, New York also, but California more than any other place is so rigged. It's such a rigged election. You know, we won the Hispanic vote. So a lot of people say Republican wouldn't win California, but I won the Hispanic vote. I won in Miami. Think of that. In Miami, I won the Hispanic vote. Along the Texas border, I won every single city or town touching the Texas border, and they're 85 to 90% Hispanic. We won the Hispanic vote. If the vote in California was legitimate, which it's not, if 38 million ballots, everything is mail-in voting. They mail out 38 million ballots, and they come in. Where the hell do they go, and where do they come from? It's a rigged election in California because we would win California by a lot. And again, they feel they have the advantage with Hispanic.
Okay, that's yeah, we've heard a lot of that before, but he's starting to come out with it again, and then using the term truckload, and it's coming right out right away. And some people are saying before Christmas. So that's what we want to ask about. Is this evidence? And we know they got it all there. But we've been waiting a really long time, this community, to see this evidence come to the public eye. We've all seen it. We know what it is. But can they prove it? And will it get to the mainstream population? Let's have a look. Okay, so we got that safety card again, going safe. So they have been really cautious and safe at this. Okay, they've been doing this in degrees and degrees and layering and layering. And I feel like that's one of the ways they're doing things so that it'll be more widely accepted by the normies, okay? And we've got that Two of Pentacles, so timing. In a way, it looks like they're really pushing for it, but they're still going to be watching and cautious. So I don't think it's a given that they're going to do it before Christmas. In fact, I'm going to go with no, they won't. They'll back away from. So I feel like they put it out there as a trial balloon to see if it's now time to drop it. And I feel like they backed off of it for safety reasons, and they won't. They've already decided not to actually release it all before Christmas, but within the next few months. So they've backed off doing it just before Christmas, but I feel like maybe when he said that, they were still considering it. It was a considered timing, and it looks like they backed off of it. But I keep getting between now and February or the time for all of this stuff. I feel like they're just being extra cautious about what things come out when and how much, people have to be receptive before they let these things out. Okay, so I'd say no to that. No, they won't do that before Christmas. Let's look at this Rob Reiner situation. Okay, so there's so much to unpack here. Let's have a listen to this horrific comedian. Actually, it wasn't even a comedian. It was a senator, I believe. He's roasting Rob Reiner, okay, and saying horrific things about this guy's childhood. It's the same story they say happened to Barack Obama, but a lot of these people that get really high up in life, where in the various areas, they're in entertainment or politics, they're in these families that satanically ritual abuse them. Let's have a listen to what this guy says happened to Rob Reiner while he's sitting there listening and laughing. Everybody thinks it's hilarious. It's absolutely disgusting. Let's listen to this.
Rob was routinely beaten by his father, Carl. On a typical night, Carl would slip into Rob's bed, roll him over, swab him down, and say something like, "I'm thinking about hiring Maury Amsterdam to play Buddy Sorrell. What do you think?" Well, the success of the Dick Van Dyke Show changed things dramatically. Carl started inviting many of his famous friends to son.
Can you believe that? It's unbelievable. And look at how uncomfortable Rob Reiner is. Okay, so it looks like one of those kind of, not necessarily walk of shame, but where they have to do that to get higher up. They have to, first of all, say what these guys do. They have to say it in public, and also put these guys through sort of shaming rituals. And we see all of these famous people being put through shaming rituals. Now the go-to shaming ritual is dressing up the real macho guys, like the big footballers and whatever, in dresses, and have them parade around in dresses, and also out them for gay activities and etc. And all kinds of really demeaning rituals that otherwise publicly they probably wouldn't put on public display. Even if they were gay, or they probably wouldn't be parading around in the kind of dresses they dress them up in, like stuff like that. They really out these guys. So I feel like this story, that both this guy and his wife were killed this weekend, and now they have his son in custody. So an adult son of this guy. So just imagine, this is generational that happens to these people. Okay. And it looks like the son might have done it. Okay. And I feel like it likely, because there's all of these comments coming out of Hollywood saying, oh yeah, like father, like son. And look at these two. Does that look like a loving family connection to you? They got a big space between them. If I was putting my arm around my son, I'd hug him close. Okay, these two, this guy ritually sexually abused his son, and he was also sexually abused by his father, and it just got passed on. That's what these guys do. Okay, so are they outing it with this story? We don't know if it's even true or not. Okay, because this guy probably was rounded up some time ago. I don't believe any of this story right now, but I believe that they're using it. This is my belief, and we're going to ask the cards. Are they using stories like this to start outing this ritual satanic abuse, okay, really in the public eye? Because we've known about it. I've been talking about it for years, okay, but general population thinks we're tinfoil hatters when we talk about this. And, not, I'm just going to add one more thing to this whole story. Another guy this same weekend was killed by his son, okay, another famous guy, an opera singer. What was his name? I'm trying to find his name here. This guy here, Grammy nominated opera singer. That's it. Julian Scott Sykes. Anyway, I'm not sure I said his name. Julian Sykes, but very famous guy, was also found dead. And apparently his son, his 31-year-old, I believe, killed him, apparently. That's what they're saying. Okay, so so this happens all in the same weekend or week. Do we have an outing coming up that's going to out this kind of abuse? Is that what's going on? That's what I'm asking. Okay, are they using this to out this stuff? Okay, just horrifying. And also it brought up that old clip of that guy saying that, or most people would have forgot that guy publicly said his father satanically ritually abused him, described how they do it, and also that they shop these kids around to their friends. Is that what happened to that boy that supposedly killed his dad and his mom? Or in fact, are they using this, another psyop, to out these guys? Like, did any of that actually happen? Or are they doing what I said, using it to out these guys, using these stories? Okay, let's have a look. And somebody said, okay, why are we talking about famous people? It's a huge part of the war, you guys, that they use these. This is a huge part of bringing out satanic ritual abuse and what the elites do, or let's call them deletes do, okay? And what that whole class of people do, what they do ritually to their children, how they do what they do, how they get where they get. It's hugely important to the war that we're in to talk about it. So we're not just being frivolous and talking gossip here. It's actually a huge part of it. Also, these guys all really talk smack about Trump. Like this guy, Bob, I mean, there's all kinds of clips and posts that he made that he's the biggest Trump hater. Why is he though? Because he's owned by the cabal. Okay, so these people are owned by the cabal, and how they're owned is that their own family satanically ritually abuses them and creates altars for them, and they don't even know who they are, and they just reiterate, and they're put in positions of power and the head of their whatever it is, a career they're in, all because they toe the line for the cabal. Okay, so it is hugely important to talk about it as part of the war that we're watching go down. Okay, let's have a look. So we've got the 4 and an ace. So that's interesting. We asked, did this, in fact, so that's hidden things coming out. So they're bringing hidden things. So the big intention here is that they're bringing out hidden things that happened. I don't think it literally, this should be here or here if it literally happened. Okay, so I don't think his son literally killed his parents. I think those two were rounded up, and maybe we've been seeing mask wearers, if we've even seen these guys in public lately. Okay, I think they were rounded up, and it could have even been 4 years ago, looking at this card here, or maybe 6 years ago with this card here. But we know they've been rounding them up since at least 2017, guys. Okay, so they could have been Gitmo'd already, but they're using the story of the son, okay, to get you looking at and get the general population looking at something. So they get everybody looking into this stuff. Okay, because look what all came out since that. Okay, that old clip, for instance. And regular folks are listening to that. And they're not just hearing it from me, where they could easily just dismiss it. They're actually listening to a senator make jokes like that. Okay. And so they're starting to, layer up the information. So this is one of those psyops. Both of those deaths were probably exactly a psyop just for that. Okay. Because they both had sons who killed parents or a parent. Okay. And famous people. So probably part of the club. All right. Wow. Just it's a way that they get this stuff out, guys. So let's look at this. South Korea announces a new battery that uses silver as a large part of how you make this battery. Okay, so less lithium, more silver. And I'm thinking it might be what leads to. So do you guys remember when I looked at silver? Maybe you don't remember, but with Jean-Claude on several occasions looking at silver for years now, I've got that the reason it gets to the high prices it gets to, one of the reasons is it'll be largely used in the future for technological advancements. Okay, apparently this battery has way longer power, I guess, way longer life, and is a lot more efficient than just a lithium battery. Okay, and also it's so polluting to mine lithium. Apparently it's just really bad for the environment. So using silver would be better, but it would also skyrocket the price of silver. Okay, and I got for years that silver would go really high, and a lot of it had to do with its use in technologies coming in the future. Okay, so I got a feeling we're on to something here. Or is this is this a nothing burger? Is this not going to come to fruition? This is just a story. Let's have a look. Is there truth to the story that this battery's coming out and it's using a lot of silver? Wow. Okay. I think they've had that for a long time, you guys. We've got 3 major arcanas, and the first card down's a major arcana, so I'm going to say it's absolutely a true story. They've had this, or they've known about this for a really long time, and it could really change a lot of things, okay, about how things are done. And that just makes a lot of sense. And yeah, it does look like it's something that will really put the price of silver up. So I think that is a true story. So you can go look at that on my Telegram, guys. I've shared all of these things all morning. So just go look at my Telegram today and or my X. Okay, I've shared this all over the place. Now, our last story is going to be California weird fog. Okay, California is experiencing that sickening fog again. Lots of people are sending video footage right to my email, but also online here. We're seeing it on social medias. Let's have a little listen to this.
A thick layer of radiation fog is covering Central California, leaving more than 13 million people stranded. The phenomenon called radiation fog is unrelated to nuclear radiation, but it creates an equally dangerous situation. A thick layer of fog forms when the ground cools rapidly after sunset, compressing the air close to the ground like putting a lid on a pot of steaming water. The result, all the car exhaust, agricultural dust, industrial emissions, and PM2. 5 particles are trapped right where people breathe. Health experts warn that this can cause a sudden increase in asthma symptoms, coughing, chest pain, and even heart problems. From Sacramento to Fresno, Bakersfield, Oakland, millions of people are living in a fog compressed between 2 layers of air, cold below and warm above. And while this air cap remains open, pollution can build up exponentially. Local hospitals have been reporting a surge in new emergency cases, and the weather agency has been breaking news, a thick layer of...
Okay, thank you, Coco, for that. Now, she's spinning it. That person probably was told to say those things, okay, and spinning it like it's a natural occurrence, okay? Did you hear how she was saying it there? So it naturally occurs when there's warm air and cold air hitting each other, so it creates this sort of pocket of dangerous air. Okay, that's how she's spinning it. But a lot of people said the spraying's been just off the charts. And also they've seen even planes spraying on the water, like a whole bunch of stuff's been coming out about just this could be done to them. This could be being done to them as opposed to her spin on it. Okay, so we're going to ask, is her spin correct? Or do we have some shenanigans going on in California area? And let us know in the comments if you live in that area and what you're seeing. Yeah, it's a spin, guys. She's spinning it. There's definitely shenanigans. Yeah, there's shenanigans. So it looks like we have shenanigans happening. It looks like whatever she's saying here, it's coming from a story or part of the theater. I get it may not be as prevalent as like they're making it sound like it's all over California. So let us know if you're in California where it is. I feel like it's take it down quite a few notches. Okay, but this was definitely done to them. So here's what you're getting here. I feel like it came from chemicals sprayed on these people. This didn't come just in that natural occurring way that she's talking about here. And it does look like it'll make some people sick. Okay, so be careful if you're from that area. Now, the good news is it clears up really fast. But it definitely sets you back. And so I would stay out of going out there and breathing that in if that's what you're experiencing in your area. You don't want to go out in that and breathe it in, okay? You want to wait till it clears up. And it does look like it'll clear up. Could even be hours away where it could have already started clearing. So again, let us know what you're experiencing there. But this was done to them. Okay, this was done. And we've got the Wheel of Fortune and we've got the Page of Wands here. So I feel like this is part of the war coming out in the open. And yeah, this is kind of a warrior card. I feel like this is they're still getting their hands on these planes that can spray poisons. And I feel like bad guys did this. And it's not going to last long, okay? But it's still dangerous while it's around. So just be careful if you're living in those areas. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching the video. Sending everybody ravens. And again, if you're watching this anywhere but tarotbyjanine.com, oh, a big old ace. So she was kind of created. Okay, now this is interesting though with that ace and the 2. So now, now I'm thinking we got somebody who's capitulated. Now I think she might be doing the work of in this information war we're in. See this card here. She's in cahoots with. But not bad guys. So I feel like she came over or was told to you need to get on board with the White Hat Alliance outing of all of this stuff. So I feel like a lot of the things she's doing, looking at these cards here, a lot of the things she's doing is to out maybe how ridiculous and how created her whole thing is. And people like her, right? So it feels like they're using her brand, and she could be doing the walk of shame, and she could also be facing down the road, or at least her family. I mean, I don't know what age group she is, but her family could be facing, you know, some situations. We could ask about that.
Oh, very interesting.
Or something. Yeah, because it looks to me like she's not, or this is 2.0. Or even who knows how many they've used. I don't feel like this is the real Greta we're looking at. And I feel like this is background deals. So they've made deals to use her brand. But the people using her brand, the desire is not against humanity. So to me, she likely got capitulated and or brought herself over. It could have even been her idea. Because if you really watch what she's been up to, do you have any current stories like show everybody what she's been up to? Because it does make her look so foolish, really.
Yeah, for sure. So as of late, she's been protesting about what's been going on in Gaza. And this is from the Britain is Broken X account, says breaking, Greta, I guess this just came out today. Greta Thunberg and crew fake an Israeli drone attack on her Freedom Flotilla. Did you see any clips of that, Janine? The Freedom Flotilla heading for Gaza. It was her, one of the Game of Thrones actors, and some other people.
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg claimed her boat was struck by a drone. However, Tunisian authorities confirmed there was zero drone activity in the area. Turns out someone aboard set off a flare and blamed it on a drone. Another lie added to the long list of Palestinian propaganda. Seems like she's kind of desperate in a way to remain relevant, right? I mean, there's only so long you can do a certain kind of shtick, especially as an activist, which is something kind of random to be in the public eye, right?
Let's have a look maybe at what is this all about? Does this have any real truth to it, like, or is it like, let's watch for things like the Magician card, the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Swords, which would be like let's look for the Psyop card. That's the King of Cups. The Seven of Swords is when they're and I'm not saying this for your benefit because I know you know your cards, but the Seven of Swords, I'm saying it for the viewing audience, is often considered a strategy card. So maybe they're using her strategically, which is that first pulse does suggest, right? So that's
right.
But if she really legit is like, there's a person really believing in those causes, right? You wouldn't think they'd be lying about it. You know what I'm saying? Interesting. 10. And so this is a large audience. So I think they're using her brand because she's had a lot of eyes on. And it looks like that's my White Hat Alliance card in the middle. Looks like she had a big amount of people. So she looks like she was taken off the scene some time ago. So that's the breaking of facades and an illusion card. So there's what you see. And I think even for a long time, she was probably a bit of an illusion because she was set in place by her parents and or people managing her parents. Being a bloodline family, I mean, they manage the parents and the whole thing's managed, right? And funded by bloodline families. And I feel like that's ended. So that the real Greta and what she was really doing and what her agenda was and who was handling her. And when you watched for years, she had this particular handler for a really long time. When you look back at pictures of her and stuff, there was this woman handling her. And you could totally tell that was like, she was probably MK Ultra handled. right? Now we've got, and that could be why you see that in her eyes, Meg.
Right.
When they've been handled like that, like she's been messed with from the time she was young, probably satanically ritually abused. Like her whole family's so suspect, like weirdos, right? So now we've got the 10, and they're also very connected. So don't even kid yourself. She's coming from huge money. Okay, but it's all like there's being all subtle about it. So we've got that she's being used, it looks like, as part of the wake up. So so even what they're doing there, we've got the alliance here, and so a lot of this looks totally staged. So whatever we were looking at there, they're using it to wake up her large audience, because she had a lot of people looking at her. So if they make her look foolish, she's already like embarrassed herself so many times in the public. I have a feeling it's the way of the Biden regime that was fumbling around there for 4 years, making complete fools out of their entire group. I feel like they're using that same tactic with her.
For sure. And do you feel, Janine, and you may have already said this, so forgive me, but do you feel she was created from birth for this role that she's playing?
Let's have a look. Yeah. I mean, if her family are transgender, like I suspect, that mother couldn't have had the kids. So maybe she was even placed in the family, right?
Barb Zona. Oh, sorry.
Sometimes they even have the father birthing the kids and the woman who's the male, but often the family doesn't, they're more for looks. They don't even actually like have a regular connection relationship. They don't use sexuality in the way sort of healthy people do. They use it as a dominance and an abuse and a power, and to connect with their gods, demons. Yeah, and they don't use it in any way to be empowering or make a connection with their partner. So the relationships are always weird. You can tell by looking at how they interact and stuff. I've watched her family and her growing up for quite a while. It's pretty interesting when you like look beyond the veneers. Yeah.
Right.
So we're looking at, how did you put it?
Yeah. So was she like created from birth basically to be in this role, or is this a natural person that was born that was then put into this role?
Okay. I think it was from birth.
Oh, wow.
And they might have even thought about it pre-birth. So had the idea and then created the whole scenario, put the parents together, chose the child they were going to place in the family. I'm not getting a real family connection here. So I feel like the kids were all placed in the family. Okay, so yeah, this feels like it all came together, maybe even beforehand. And see, we got the big psyop card. So the whole family and their dynamic and what they say their background is, how they would have met each other, the father and the mother, all of it looks like a big lie. So we had that same thing happen with Meghan Markle. Like Meghan Markle was also a boy at birth, surprising as that. And then she was used by the White Hats to show, like, I believe even before her wedding, they moved in on those two and capitulated them. So I think the White Hats have been around for a really long time doing the work behind the scenes. And they actually used the whole wedding to just show you they were there to out the royals. And also to out that none of those royals have their own babies. So, of course, she had the big baby bump that fell down to her knees and stuff. These guys look like they weren't infiltrated by the white hats maybe till later, not like where Meghan and was about the time she had that marriage. Okay, this looks like the deep state would have placed her. So she had a different mother. It looks like she was physically birthed, so she wasn't created outside the womb like sometimes happens. It looks like she had a physical mother and then placed in the family. And I feel like her family is like all of it looks like not true. So if you see big smiling pictures, I mean, there's a lot of families like that in Hollywood that I'm sure it's, the veneer will come off pretty quickly if you just start looking. But yeah, it's a big psyop. Their whole family's a big psyop. And I think they've placed a few different Gretas along the way. So they might have had one at the beginning and then they replaced that one. And maybe that one's MK Ultra wasn't working and they got it. Yeah, like it's hilarious. It's unbelievable. Okay, about halfway through. So I'd say she would have been about 6 when she got replaced by another one. Maybe they thought this one would be better at the whole climate change stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So they create them in a way with MK Ultra and they use a lot of creative, they kill the real person that it was with mind control.
Right, for sure. And speaking of mind control, don't know if you've heard about this, Janine. This is from an ex post from Dinesh D'Souza. Children, notably Nordic white girls with braids and red cheeks, were often used in Nazi propaganda. An old Goebbels technique. Looks like today's progressive left is still learning its game from an earlier left in the 1930s. Is there any merit to this? Is that because she has a very distinctive look, right? These two blonde pigtails. Is this literal MK Ultra mind control being put on us that was used with the Nazis as well? Or is this just a coincidence, her appearance?
I suggest you find some real modern pictures of her, like right up till today. It could just be the actor they're using, but looking more and more like a big kind of gronky boy. It's quite interesting.
Yeah,
and people are making a lot of jokes about it online. Okay, so here we've got the bloodline family kind of card. So that could be like deep state Illuminati kind of card. And then here, so they absolutely did that too. They're absolutely emulating that. Look what you said. That's exactly where they're getting. Good one. That's exactly where they're getting their little little situation. Yep. Now we've got that star right in the middle. So there's a vulnerability to it. A vulnerability. So it leaves so this would be how it affects just regular folks. Maybe they trust that look or something with the braids and the little cheeks and stuff. As she went on, she got stranger and stranger looking, in my opinion, and their little thing wasn't really working. Also, when she'd open her mouth, just the screeching and stuff that would come out, it would be like, kind of stopped working at some point. Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, they're like literally using her. She's literally was being used first. It's really sad when you think about it. She's placed in the family, used, managed, MK Ultra'd, and used for political gain on the side of, looks like the far left and the wokeism, because all of that ties into, your climate change and et cetera. So they got these big agendas and, and they only can go so far because people caught on to it. It was like, okay, we've got pictures from 80 years ago of the same body of water, and it's exactly the same tides are happening. And it's like, there's some places that are naturally washing away and other places that are gaining, but that's all just natural ebb and flow of what happens in nature. It's like they've scientifically basically proven if there's such a thing, you know what I mean? But climate change has already been called out as a hoax. So now the white hats are using her brand, it's unfortunate in a way because our whole life's been used.
Right. Yeah, that is really, really sad. And this is a more modern picture of her, I guess, from this might have actually been today or yesterday. So yeah, she is looking a little bit boyish there for sure. And this is a video of her from yesterday. Let's just take a little listen to what the heck she is yelling about, it seems like.
Just across the water from here, there is a genocide going on. A mass starvation committed by Israel's murder machine. Keep your eyes on Gaza. We have global media reporting about this mission. Where is global media when it comes to reporting about the hell they're going through in this genocide? Where is global media when it comes to holding war criminals to account? When it comes to defending their journalist colleagues who are being systematically targeted and killed, risking their lives reporting about the situation in Gaza. This genocide is being enabled and fueled by our governments, our institutions, our companies, our elected officials who are supposed to represent us. End your complicity, everyone, end your complicity in this genocide. Be human. No one is free until Palestine is free.
She's kind of scary a little bit. Hey, Janine, she's so...
I find that did not look like then the other picture of the Gronky guy. Okay, I find that they might have swapped that person out because if you notice that other Gronkier picture, the person looks bigger and just broader across the shoulders. I think they're purposely finding actors to really mess with you on purpose so you'll notice stuff. They want you to notice, like they want regular folks to notice what they're doing here. It's time for people to wake up to this stuff happens. They use people all the time. They're always swapping people out, especially famous people. Okay, and we need to know what's been going on, right?
Yeah, definitely. Moniquin says, hello from Sweden. Her mother is an opera singer, often playing male roles. Okay, you can't make this stuff up. The whole family is dark. Yes, for sure. Would you want to maybe take a look, Janine, at, because Greta, she's most known for when it comes to her activism against climate change. Yeah. Climate change is still something that's being projected onto us as one of these end of the world scenarios, one of these very, new world order agendas to try to get us into the 15-minute cities and eat bugs and all of that. Could we maybe do a poll on what are we looking at timeline wise in terms of climate change? Is this still going to stick? Is this going to be really revealed at some point moving forward? Is there another way you'd want to maybe phrase that regarding the future of climate change and that still being a thing that a lot of people are believing in?
No, I think that's a good way to ask it. I'm going to do the big 7 card, like we'll do the pyramid spread. So we'll go past. So it wasn't even batting 1,000 in the past. Like it, really, like you can poke a lot of holes in what they're saying there. Okay. So in the past, it was kind of just barely holding on here for the last, say, 10 years. And a lot of people were poking holes in it, reputable people. Yeah. Okay, now the present, so it's gossip and innuendo. So a lot of things that you're hearing are, I feel like right now they're being used. They're almost like, it feels to me like in this war we're in. So we're in this worldwide war that a lot of people don't even realize we're in. Information war. And in that information war, they're using climate change to out it as gossip and innuendo. So I feel like right now they're actually giving it a walk of shame. And I'm not saying we couldn't do better looking after our world. We absolutely can, but not in the way they present it. In the way they present it is only just to take human rights away. Get us in those 15-minute cities, like you said, get us eating government sanctioned foods and like no more beef. And like, whose idea was that? They want to keep you sick unhappy. They want the loosh. They want keep everybody in little boxes. Don't have any like it has nothing to do with literally the climate. And of course, anybody who is doing anything against our earth is very more likely the very large corporations that a lot of this agenda protects. Okay, so instead of actually outing who's really ruining your atmosphere, okay, they're blaming it on just the regular folks. And it's really the whole created way the system runs. That's what's, if there's anything wrong with your air, and there is a lot wrong with it, it's being sprayed at you. It's what they're putting in the soil. It's how they're growing food now en masse, the big food producers, it's right. So they're taking all of that blame away from where it belongs, and they're putting it on our shoulders and then raising our taxes. And it's just a money grab and a grab for land, taking all our land away. Yeah, it's just to make excuses for that WEF, 2030 thing.
Right.
Okay. But yeah. So the past, it was sort of, it never really got as, like, there might have been some years there where it was really rocking, but then people caught on fairly quickly. Now it's literally like hearsay and used. I feel like right now the White Hat Alliance is now outing it as the fraud that it is by making it look as foolish as it is. Okay, now we've got the strength card, so that's interesting. Strength, that'll change things. So a strong, somebody might come in to really give us a strong idea about where we're really sitting with it, what's really happening with our earth. Because I know things are happening and changing. Okay, but I feel like we don't know, like we've been led down the garden path. Now we're being gaslit on purpose, I think, by the White Hat Alliance, just to wake people up. Like they're making it so in your face that this is how they do it, that you're like, yeah, wait a sec. Right. Now this is the turnaround. I think we start to really turn around, past, present, very near future, start to turn around. I even think by the end of this year, it won't be holding any kind of leverage whatsoever. Like they've even got people like a laughable king, Charlie Pants there, who's clearly not the original Charles. And like like now he's like walking around dressed like he's from, anyway, I won't even say it. You know what he's doing.
Right.
He's supposed to be the spokesperson for the religion in England. So what's that called? The
oh my God, yeah, the
Church of England. Let's just say that. And he's walking around completely, basically became what looks like a Muslim in the Islam religion, if I'm saying that right. It's like the King of England. That's what he's spending his time doing. And then talking about climate change. So it's like he's a laughing stock and dangerous, frankly. What he's doing is dangerous. He's basically handing his whole country over, and most of Europe's already being just handed over to basically invaders. And they created that whole dynamic by placing all of these people, and it's unbelievable. But anyway, I feel like, so he's a laughingstock. He's the biggest, like with him and Greta being like, they're the big climate change activists. I mean, we know it's a joke now with those two.
Right.
So big turnaround comes just at the end of the year. I'd even say January, where you're really not, nobody's going to be taken seriously if they're even talking about it. And this card's the hidden influence, which is, it's just not holding water anymore. I mean, the CO2 thing, I wonder if that was a psyop on the part of the White Hats with the CO2 and talking about it nonstop, because it's so easy to educate someone on the fact that, trees need CO2 to live. If we get rid of all the CO2, the trees die, the plant life dies, we die. How is that not really obvious. So the whole CO2 thing is just a riot and is easy to, and I am not even remotely an intellect of any kind. And of course, you know, there's probably going to be some people laughing out there like, yeah, we know that, Janine. Okay, but I am intuitive and I'm wise in a different way. And you know what? Like there's so easy to poke holes in that. Like nobody,
Yeah.
you know, it's easy to educate people out of that. Somehow we've got to lower, get to a zero emission. Like it makes no sense.
Right.
Okay, it's like we're going to kill ourselves, and that's really what the whole WEF wants us to do anyway. They're wanting us to, you know, put things in our arm that'll kill us, eat things that kill us, give away all our property. Like, you know, they're just mass murdering. Really, that was the agenda. So it looks like by the end of the year, this doesn't even hold water anymore. Like people are stepping away en masse from it. And I've even noticed, like some of my normie friends, and I got lots of normie friends, unfortunately, but a whole lot of them aren't even, they're not even like, they won't even discuss it because it's too embarrassing at this point.
Wow.
So now we've got the 5. So we're stepping away. This is something to notice, stepping away. And there's been a really big, so we should congratulate really the White Hat Alliance because they did a great job on really through almost ridiculousness, educating people on how ridiculous. And I feel like that whole, taxes, carbon taxes and everything. By the way, we're made up of all carbon humans.
Right.
What are humans, right? What do we, grind down into? Okay. So we're against ourselves. Yeah, that's what they want us to be. Okay. So yeah, it's so ridiculous, but people will be really angry though. Like, I feel like add this to the list of things people are going to be really angry about because they've been so fooled by this for so long. Like, I don't know about school for you, Meg, because you're a whole different generation than me, but in the 70s, so I graduated in 79, I was 16, almost 17 at the time. So I was kind of a young for being that graduating already. But in those times in high school and everything, the biggest thing besides litter, and don't be a litter bug, that was huge. Like, what a concept. Don't just throw your stuff out the window. That was huge. And I agree with let's not do that. Right. But the other thing was climate change. They were really, really coming on strong with it. That was when it was really, really taking flight. And I remember like the propaganda machine for it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time in schools telling you, what was all the scary stories about glaciers melting and stuff like that. And it's just like, instead of like, telling you that in fact, every how many years that the earth does go through a big change. And
that's for sure.
Cycles back around. Yeah. But these two are interesting. So we've got the Queen of Pentacles at the Page of Pentacles. I'd say, so January, again, another nod to January, where really it looks like some really solid evidence that it's gone off the agenda forever. I feel like it'll be so outed by then, and something in particular really helps push it right over the edge.
Definitely. And have you ever heard of the term before, Janine, climate anxiety?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is something I feel bad because there's genuinely a lot of people out there that are going through climate anxiety, anxiety induced by the fear of climate change. Just want to play this quick clip on double speed, and then I want to bring this up with you in the cards.
To your parents, and it helped you it gave you more hope, I suppose. What is it that you were doing like to campaign to your parents?
Yeah, I mean, of course, when you're a child, when you're like 8 or 10 or 11 years old, there is not much that you can really do to make a difference. So you start small. I started with turning off the lights at home to save energy, and that led to another thing, which led to another thing, and eventually I stopped flying. I became vegan and so on, and then I got my parents to do that too, because I started talking to them, and they started to listen to my concerns, and by making them change, it also gave me the sort of courage that I needed to move on to start school striking. So starting somewhere is really good. Starting home, for example.
I think that's what they say, isn't it? Start where you are.
Yeah.
Greta, these days, you're still just 19 years old and you are a key voice in this huge global movement. That comes with a lot of pressure. What helps you deal with that?
I think the most important thing is knowing that we are so many people who are fighting for the same cause. I have so many friends who I can share this with, and who are also activists. And without them, it would not be possible.
Yeah, you hold those other activists close. I actually saw this amazing picture of you having fun, because you also like to have fun, with Malala Yousafzai. Now, those hats, Greta, I know that there's a story behind them. You knitted them, crocheted them?
I crocheted them. Yes, that's what I do. I'm a frog hat factory.
Well, you're not exaggerating, because I saw you earlier with one of your team, and there were several members of the group traveling with you. People had the frog hats on.
Yeah.
How many have you made now?
Maybe 25 or so.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, we don't need to hear her talking about her frog hats. But yeah, this is something I've also seen with kind of normie friends and family members, where they are genuinely freaked the heck out by climate change. They have anxiety about it. Janine, for those of us in the audience that maybe we have a child with climate anxiety, or a grandchild, or someone we're close to, how can we navigate this? What do the cards have to say about this?
It's real. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
Right? One more thing to get everybody, like, of course, they're keeping everybody, anxious about so many things, and that's one of them. And a lot of them are made up things. I mean, fear is like assuming something's going to happen. Like, you're calling it to you. You're literally, when you fear something, you're literally attracting the very thing with your energy, because you're assuming that thing's going to happen. You play over all the ways it can happen, and like all of that's could create a lot of anxiety. So it's real. It looks real. Okay,
Yeah.
so what to do about it? That's down here. So you're going to need patience. Okay, you're going to need to approach it patiently, so not with ridicule or teasing, or take it for real, because it is real to them. To them, it's real. And people with anxiety, to them, it's real. I had anxiety for the first and only, thank goodness, time, like a really big anxiety situation for a few years there, after being on a really icy road in bad tires. And then after that, no matter what vehicle I was in, could have been a tank. If I was on roads that were even remotely looked wet or icy, that same anxiety would come over me, like I was in danger again, and I was petrified to drive in any kind of weather, even if it was windy. So that took a few years, and I kept changing my vehicle, thinking, okay, if I just get a more solid vehicle. Had a Volvo, and I had kept getting these vehicles to try to go, okay, what's the best bet for safety? And it wasn't the vehicle. It was my anxiety had to be handled and managed, and it takes time. And I love myself out of it. So you got to love your kids out, like love them, but patiently, quietly, like when they're not in a big, anxious, when they're not really in the full of it. Okay, that's when you want to have a little conversation with them, get some common sense in there. Make sure you give them the other side of how things could be and what's really going on. Don't just not talk about it, I think, but talk about it when there's a loving space. And they'll listen. Okay, when they're having a big attack, an anxious attack, that's probably not the time. Okay,
Right.
Maybe hold them through that, love them through that, but just approach it with patience. And I do feel like with all the information coming out, maybe share some of that again, as long as they're in a receptive mood and maybe not in the throes of a big anxious attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is really good words of wisdom. We're getting close to the end of the show here. Janine, should we maybe do a poll on what the rest of the year looks like for Greta Thunberg? She seems to be out there a lot still, but a lot of people are waking up.
Yeah. And like even that picture of supposedly That was supposed to be her and a friend with the frog hat. That wasn't her profile. That wasn't her. You know what I mean? You know, how often are we seeing like they're just
And that's
people up?
Yeah. Weird, Janine. I just noticed that this recent picture of her, she seems to be holding a frog hat again.
Yeah.
Interesting symbology there.
Yeah. And well, think about it now. Think about it. There's that frog drawing cartoon that's the far right people use. Okay. So Patriots, US like everyone's they've got that little logo on there. You know that it's going to be a really, really patriot driven, truther driven video if they've got that little frog in the corner. You know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about? You guys know. In the comments, share something in the comments with it. Okay, so they do the social media and so I feel like that's more walk of shame. Right, because I think she got capitulated some years ago. And they're using her brand. So now they threw some frog visual. What does the frog have? She's not an advocate for frogs that we know of. Do you know what I mean? So why the frog? Okay, because that green frog. And that's not a handmade hat she's holding there. So she was saying she's making handmade hats, and those ones looked like she handmade them. Okay, that one doesn't look like a handmade hat, at least from what I can see there. You know what I mean? Like, interesting.
For sure.
Greta, what's really going on with Greta? Okay, according to this, she's not here anymore. Like, she's long gone. Long gone. Yeah, she's see the 10 done and done. So they're using her brand politically right now. They're using her brand. The White Hat Alliance is using. She's gone undercover. So she's undercover. And somebody like her, like, I don't think that, I don't know if she'll be tribunaled or what'll happen, but somebody like her, she was born into this and didn't have a choice, really. I hope they take all of those things into consideration. Of course, she's young as well, but she's undercover. And maybe they're just, getting information out of her or whatever. They probably already got information out of her because she comes from a bloodline family. So she's going to know some things about how these people operate. But I feel like she might even be, and now we're going to get woo on you guys, be shipped off or other dimensionally moved. I don't think she's spending any more time here on the earth plane. And I don't mean she was I don't want to say the word, but I don't mean she was processed. That's the word I usually use for the Gitmo thing. I don't think that. And I don't think they do that to somebody who's young and was brought into it and had no choice in the matter. Like maybe if she was in her 20s and was still choosing to be on that route, she might face some, because you have choices at some point. Right. In her case, 19, I mean, and I think she would have been capitulated a few years ago, maybe at 16, 17, because this white hat thing's been going on for a long time. And she's been making a fool out of herself since the beginning, but really bad for a few years here where I was suspecting that she was being walked of shame, or their agenda was not necessarily her, but they're using her brand to make a point now. The White Hat Alliance. So I feel like she's not even on planet really, and or dimensionally, because possibly we don't live on round planets. I'm not sure about that yet. So I'll just say she's not currently on the Earth.
On the Earth. Wow. That is super trippy, Janine. Always very trippy when we look into these people. So very, very interesting. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And let's see, on the schedule for the rest of the day,
khí hậu khó lường, đại quân không người đóng quân đã đành, chỉ riêng về dầm mưa chấn sương đã có thể gây ra ôn dịch cho quân lính. Chúng ta một đường đến đây, không có khó khăn nào là không kiên trì vượt qua. Chẳng lẽ chỉ còn cửa ải cuối cùng này lại thật sự không thể qua nổi hay sao? Tống Tiểu Ái nói. Đồng đấy, sĩ binh của đô trưởng Man ở Cửu Thi Thành tính cũng không qua 4.000 người. Nếu thực sự đánh nhau thì chẳng phải là đối thủ của vài vạn đại quân triều đình. Vấn đề là làm sao có thể đánh đến dưới chân Cửu Thi Thành. Hai vách núi này thực cực chẳng đã muốn đào nó lên lệnh. Dương Lăng nghe xong gượng cười nói, lời nói ba hoa hùng hồn lúc trước, chẳng ngờ Tống Tiểu Ái lại ghi nhớ trong lòng. Nhưng xem hai đỉnh vách núi này, cho dù dùng thuốc nổ thời hiện đại để công phá, muốn nổ bằng nó cũng là chuyện khó. Huống hồ nói đến việc nào rộng lắm. Chính vào lúc này, Chu Nhận Cận dẫn thêm một người Hàn không có râu, mặt mày đỏ ửng heo từ dưới núi lên. Người đó thân thủ cường tráng, leo núi như vậy. Chu Nhận Cận cũng mặt không đỏ, hơi thở không gấp. Xét ra lời nói ngục đế của gã là thật, quả nhiên tinh thông một mình, võ nghệ đầy mình. Chu Nhận Cận thấy Dương Lăng chặt tay nói, đại nhân, ngài đã nghĩ ra kế sách phá núi chưa? Dương Lăng đứng dậy nghênh đón lắc đầu. Khó, Cửu Thi Thành này giống như một quả ốc chó, chính là vỏ ngoài cứng cáp, có không phá. Nếu không được vào trong thì trái lại chẳng có gì đáng ngại nữa. Đông Doanh Quan hôm qua lại phái người đưa chiếu hàng cho A Đại. A Đại chẳng có nửa lời hồi đáp, trái lại còn gia tăng thủ quân ở hai vách núi, coi bộ dạng là ngoan cố trông đợi đến cùng rồi. Chu Nhận Cận hiểu ý rõ của Dương Lăng, thần sắc không khỏi buồn bã. Một lúc lâu sau, chân định lại tiếng lại nói, đại nhân, đây là vị bạn tốt, cố hữu của ta, một vị huynh đệ tộc Di, hắn tên là Ca Phan. Hắn và người Man có làm ăn quan lại. Từng người bò rơi để lấy trống đồng chết đá của người Man. Nhiều lần đi qua con đường này, hắn nói với ta, ngoài trừ con đường này, trong núi còn có một con đường tắt có thể đến được dưới chân Cửu Thi Thành. Không biết có giúp ích gì cho đại nhân hay không? Dương Lăng tinh thần phấn chấn, vội vàng mời các con ngồi. Tường Tận đặng hỏi tình hình phát triển như hiện nay, vua thân Cát Phan xem thời thế, sức ủng hộ triều đình cũng gia tăng. Cát Phan Hóa Tây vốn là nảy tinh hăng hữu mới theo ý đến đây, giờ trái lại thật lòng thật dạ muốn giúp đỡ công binh, vì tộc lập hạ phần công lao. Tức thì Cát Phan Hóa Tây Tường Tận kể lại phát hiện của mình khi lên núi, cuối cùng nói, con đường tắt này cũng ở trong cốc. Trống đồng người Man chế tác rất tinh xảo, là bảo vật cực đắt tiền trong thư tộc Tây Nam. Muốn đổi một cái trống đồng thượng hạng thì phải dùng nghìn con bò. Ta từng đuổi một số lượng lớn dê bò vào núi để giao dịch. Bò dê không thuận đường chạy lung tung trong bụi cỏ mới giúp ta phát hiện ra con đường tắt này. Tuy nhiên con đường này khá kín đáo, từ trên đỉnh vách núi khó có thể phát hiện có người ra vào, nhưng cực kỳ khó đi, e rằng 200-300 người đi qua thì khó tránh khỏi để lộ hành tung, và trong rồi cũng không giành được quan này. Dương Lăng nghe xong cảm thấy hơi nhụt chí, nhưng dù sao cũng là một tia hy vọng. Hắn để Cát Phan Hóa Tây cầm lấy cục đá vẽ ra bản đồ trên mặt đất, giảng giải qua lại vài lần, cho đến khi nhớ hết địa hình trong lòng, lúc này mới gật đầu, suy ngẫm một lúc, lại chậm rãi lắc đầu. Chu Nhận Cận thấy hắn vẫn chưa nghĩ ra cách, liền nói, ta với để Cát Phan xuống núi đi dạo, xem có thể nghĩ ra cách nào hay không. Được, các người dẫn thêm người đi, phải thật cẩn thận đấy. Dương Lăng tiễn họ đi, lại quay về ngồi vào tảng đá, nâng cằm nhìn sơn cốc một cách đờ đẫn. Dựa vào đường chính lên núi, không thể được, từ con đường nhỏ mà vào, không bị phát hiện nhưng số lượng có hạn. Man tử thủ quan chỉ ít cũng phải 1000 người, tập kích bất ngờ cũng khó đánh hạ. Hai bên hiểm yếu lại không thể trở mình cắt bỏ hơn 1000 quân Man ở hai vách núi giúp quân ta đi qua. Ai, cũng không xong, không được, ai chà. Dương Lăng mặt mày nhăn nhó thở dài, vừa nghiêng đầu bỗng nhiên nhìn thấy Tống Tiểu Ái ngồi xổm bên cạnh hắn, cùng hai tay nâng cằm, một cặp mắt to tròn cứ đăm đăm nhìn về sơn cốc xuất thần. Hai tay nàng kéo mặt vào bên xuống có chút biến dạng, trông thật trẻ con. Dương Lăng là nghĩ chuyện tâm sự gì đến xuất thần, nhưng rõ ràng có thể trông thấy Tống Tiểu Ái chẳng có việc gì, ngồi ở đó chán đến nỗi xuất thần. Dương Lăng không khỏi phì cười một cái. Hả? Tống Tiểu Ái nhắm mắt, trông hiếu kỳ nhìn hắn. Dương Lăng cười hỏi, nàng cảm thấy ở đây không có ý nghĩa thì đi ra ngoài đi dạo đi, bên cạnh ta có nhiều binh mã như vậy, cũng chẳng cần nàng ở cùng, hắn siêu đông. Tống Tiểu Ái phủi mông nhảy xuống tầng đá cười hì hì, ta không có người nữa. Từ lúc Lý Phó Soái đến, binh mã của ta hoàn toàn ra qua đó. Tinh binh do bản thân ta dẫn theo thì vượt núi vượt rừng, cho nên để tiểu ngũ chia làm 100 người, tất cả đều dẫn đi dò thám tình hình. Giờ ta một mình có thể đi đâu nào? Trong lòng Dương Lăng chợt sáng lên, đột ngột nhảy phát xuống nham thạch, nhìn chằm chằm Tống Tiểu Ái, hai mắt sáng rỡ, từng bước áp sát cười nói: Nàng vừa mới nói gì? Người của nàng chưa làm 110 tổ tất cả đều phái đi hết, nàng không còn người mà dùng ư? Đây chẳng phải là nụ cười dâm đãng háo sắc đấy ư? Tống Tiểu Ái có chút nổi cáu, nàng tim đập nhanh, giọng run run. Phải, đúng vậy, đại nhân, người muốn làm gì? Nàng vừa lùi vừa nói, tay thì không biết cầm vào cán đao từ lúc nào. Ha ha ha. Trên đỉnh núi truyền đến tiếng cười càn rỡ của Dương Lăng, tiếng cười vọng lại từ các dãy núi cũng thật giống tiếng sói tru. 5 ngày sau, tham tướng Lý Trạch soái lĩnh quân đội rời khỏi huyện Nhung, binh ra khỏi Ân Bá Sơn, vòng qua phía tây, cắt Lã Cáng, Ô Mông, Thửa Nga. Tham tướng Lâm Anh Viễn bộ binh ra khỏi Cốc Đạo, đuổi đến Nam Bộ đóng quân Đường Màn phía tây. Tướng quân du kích Thôi Quý lui từ Đông Bắc xuống Cửu Ti, Tây Bắc do Sở Tiêu Hoành chỉ huy binh lính xuất phát. Kim Kế Lĩnh thì giao cho 6 tổng lăng binh đóng quân. Các bộ phận binh lính Dương Lăng, Lý Sâm, Tống Tiểu Ái trời tối vượt núi, 5 đường đại quân nối liền như sâu chuỗi, chậm nhanh tương ứng, hỗ trợ lẫn nhau, phối hợp chung sức làm ra tư thế có thể tấn công bất kỳ hướng nào. Tam Hùng tướng Đô Trưởng Ban cũng điều binh khiển tướng phân chia đóng quân ở các nơi hiểm yếu, làm ra bộ dạng phòng địch ở ngoài Kiều Ti Sơn. Các đường binh mã đi đường xa xôi, còn chưa công đến phụ cận Kiều Ti Thành. Người làm chủ công như Dương Lăng đã giao phòng với quân Man. Thủ bị Cận Quốc Anh lĩnh người ngựa bản bộ làm tiên phong, gắng sức công đối, hết mình ác chiến với Man binh. Sau khi quân binh lui khỏi, lại rơi vào hơn 10 đạo hàng rào trong tay Man nhân, sau đó lại rơi trở vào tay quân binh. Quân Man một lần nữa lui vào thủ hai vách Kiều Ti Sơn. Quan binh công đối, Man Phỉ dùng cường cung nỏ cứng, vạn tên cùng bắn, lẫm liệt như điện rơi rất không ngừng. Quan binh lại đổi xe dù gỗ, Man Phỉ đổi đá lớn, gỗ cháy để che tháp. Quan binh lại lui về, song phương một lần nữa rơi vào trạng thái giằng co. Lúc này, các đường binh mã tiến công đường vòng đã lần lượt đến gần Kiều Ti Sơn. Kiều Ti Thành cố gắng xuất tinh binh, phân thủ các đường, lấy 1 chọi trăm. Còn binh tiến thêm cũng phải trả giá bằng nhiều thi thể rải rác, thương vong cực lớn. Quan binh đã chìm vào giai đoạn bị vây hãm khó tiến công. A Đại Vương thở phào một hơi nhưng vẫn không dám khinh suất. Các đường quân thủ sơn nghiêm nghị đợi lệnh, hai bên mệt mỏi bất kham. 2 ngày nay, bỗng dưng lại trời mưa. Sau cơn mưa dầm sương dày đặc, A Đại biết quan binh không thích nghi được với thời tiết, chỉ cần kiên trì thêm 2 ngày, quan binh ắt sẽ đôi. Thế là phái người đưa rượu thịt cho quân coi giữ tại các cửa hải hiểm yếu. Khao tam quân trông có vẻ như phần thắng nắm chắc trong tay. Mưa xuống, quả như là quan binh lui đi một ít. Trên nơi cao nhất của doanh trại liên tiếp 2 ngày liền không có cuộc phát động tấn công nào. Trong đêm đấy mưa dầm mù mịt. Dương Lăng chọn ra 700 dũng sĩ từ trong làng quần của Tống Tiểu Ái do Ngũ Hán Siêu, các văn hóa Tây dẫn binh. Người eo thắt dây thừng, vai đeo cương đao, giày rơm dưới chân, lộng cây trong miệng, lặng lẽ chìm vào trong màn đêm. Sương mưa mù mịt đã là giữa đêm, nếu muốn công núi thì rõ ràng là tự tìm cái chết. Các lộ quân Phan giết bò giết dê, yên tâm uống rượu, nhưng vẫn phái rất nhiều cảnh vệ. Tuy nhiên sắc đêm mưa sương mông lung, đầu tối chẳng thấy động tĩnh quan binh. Các đoàn ngõa Tây dẫn theo 700 lang binh động tăng hỏa tiến, leo nhanh hiểm trợ nhau mà đêm, lấy sắc đêm sương mưa để che chắn, lặng lẽ đi qua hai vách núi Kiều Ti. Trời còn chưa sáng, 700 dũng sĩ đã đến dưới chân Kiều Ti Thành. Bọn họ ẩn nấp trong rừng lặng lẽ nghỉ ngơi, chờ đợi thời khắc quy định đến, đồng thời chuẩn bị thêm một số thứ. Giờ Kiều Ti Thành của ta trở thành một quả óc chó. 7 vạn đại quân của dân Hung trên hành lang đầu đã dụ hết toàn quân chủ lực của Man nhân đi, phân bổ ở các cửa ải hiểm yếu. Những Man nhân thủ thành ngoại trừ phụ nữ, người già và trẻ nhỏ, những dũng sĩ còn lại cũng không còn nhiều. Trời tờ mờ sáng, thời khắc rạng sáng là lúc mọi người buồn ngủ nhất, bên ngoài lại không có chút động tĩnh nào. Quân thủ thành đang là như ngã ngửa muốn yên tâm đi ngủ. Mấy trăm cái móc sắt bay cùng lúc móc lên thành.